Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very special video for Northside Baseball. As always, I'm Ethan, this is Brandon, and we are here to talk about what we are thankful for. We've been doing this for some time now. Every time Thanksgiving rolls around, we want to talk about what we're thankful for with the Chicago Cubs. And you know how this works, so I'm just going to start it off. I really want to talk about some of these younger players that we saw play not too often, but they really stepped in when we needed them. Of course, I'm talking about people like Moises Ballesteros, people like Owen Casey, and Matt Shaw. Now, these guys, again, Matt Shaw, we saw a little bit more than maybe Owen Casey and definitely more than Moises Ballesteros, but they really filled in where we needed, especially getting closer and closer to the playoffs.
Mhm.
They weren't going to be on the roster for long, but, we needed warm bodies on the field, and they were definitely the people to step up the plate from the minors. We talked so much depth about people like Matt Shaw, Moises Ballesteros, and Owen Casey, for months when they were just still in the minors. But to see them step up in the major leagues in 2025 was really a treat that I was thankful for. Wouldn't you agree, Brandon?
Yeah, 100%. I think, again, we've talked about, it was another slow, painful rebuild for the Cubs. And part of that was because they needed to build up this kind of top prospect depth again, after that last core with Chris Bryant and Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber. I mean, again, they just, the system just kind of lost that kind of talent. And so, yeah, I mean, Matt Shaw had his struggles. I mean, he really struggled in the playoffs, but he had moments, especially in the second half, where he really looked like a future star. Moises Ballesteros, really impressed in his little cup of coffee. Owen Casey only got a couple games, but he looks like he might be the starting right fielder in 2026. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that these guys, aren't busts right now, and that they look like they're going to produce at the major league level, and that they're going to be really the centerpiece of the next Cubs core. A lot of these other veterans are going to be free agents in the next year or two. And those guys that you pointed out are definitely going to be sort of the next wave of the Cubs. And in a similar vein, I'm going to point to another guy in particular who more veteran than any of those players, but still pretty young, at least in terms of service time. And that's Michael Busch. He was brilliant in 2025. I think a lot of people, myself included, really questioned that trade with the Dodgers when it happened a couple years ago. The Cubs traded Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope, two really, really good top prospects, for Michael Busch and Yency Almonte, who's no longer with the team. And Busch has made that trade. No matter what happens with Jackson Ferris and Hope, Busch has swung that trade in the Cubs' favor pretty significantly, at least so far. Again, he was tremendous this season. 140 WRC plus. He was the hero of the postseason. I mean, a home run felt like every other game. And so, I'm just again, the Cubs have had a really nice long line of productive first basemen recently. Derek Lee, Anthony Rizzo, and now Michael Busch. Frank Schwindel for a couple months. But I think overall, it's great to see that the Cubs, no matter what else happens with the rest of this veteran core, and obviously, Kyle Tucker leaving in free agency, the Cubs have a middle of the order bat, like a true, maybe not an MVP candidate, but a true all-star first baseman. And building around that is a lot easier to do than when you don't have one. So I'm definitely thankful for him.
Yeah, the one other player I kind of want to shout out, and I know you and I both kind of share this feeling of, what we're thankful for, is Matthew Boyd. We have talked tirelessly about how the pitchers have kind of suffered. I mean, they suffer every season on the Cubs, but they suffer for different reasons, whether that's injury or they just kind of fall apart for whatever reason. We thought Shota Imanaga was going to leave, now he's back. But Matthew Boyd was the light at the end of the tunnel that we needed this past season. He really showed up for the playoffs. So I want to really say that from Brandon and I, we're really thankful for him. And I want to end this on a really sappy note for a second. What Brandon and I are really thankful for is you guys, the viewers. We've been doing this. We're about to hit our 2-year mark at Northside Baseball, and we could not do this without you guys as viewers. We love making these videos. We love talking about the Cubs. It's Brandon's favorite team, for God's sake. So we appreciate you guys, and we are so thankful that you guys watch our videos every time they are published. So thank you guys so much. As always, we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. If you have a favorite moment that you are thankful for this 2025 season, whether that's a favorite player that you're thankful for, a memory that you had from this past season. Again, I know it was a hard season for the Cubs, but still, if you're thankful for any of that, please leave it in the comments section below. And as we always say, we will be responding to everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving, guys.